Stone Cold Prose, building better words.
Hi folks, welcome back to Stone Cold Prose, where we build better words, better thoughts, and better men. I'm Miles Watson, novelist and author of numerous award-winning series, including Cage Life, Sinner's Cross, and The Chronicles of Magnus, just to name a few. I worked in Hollywood for 12 and a half years, law enforcement for a little over 10, and now I break it all down and build it back better. So let's get into this unscripted style. Today, I was driving past a certain Home Depot. I have not seen this Home Depot in many, many years, and it triggered a memory of one of the dumber acts that I've committed. Actually, it's really not even in my top 10, but it's a funny, stupid act that taught me an important lesson that most men need to learn at some point in our lives, which is, where is the dividing line between the tremendous satisfaction we get out of destroying a piece of technology that doesn't work and being a total dumbass who then pays a way out of proportion price for this momentary lapse of reason. Let's get into this. Many years ago, living in this building, before I lived in Los Angeles, obviously before I came back here, but living in this very building, I had a smoke detector which was the opposite of every other smoke detector that's ever existed. Now, most of you guys, you're familiar with the smoke detectors that are like super insensitive, right? The ones that you burn the living crap out of something on the stove and your entire house smells like burned microwave pizza, whatever. You annihilated something. It cooked. It was like a meteor coming through the atmosphere. It's a hockey puck sizzling there. The whole house is full of smoke. You got to open the windows. You're turning on the vent fans. You're getting out the fan. You're opening all the doors and windows. You're hoping your neighbors don't call the fire brigade because there's smoke pouring out of everything. And meanwhile, is the smoke detector going off? Absolutely, it is not. That was every smoke detector that I ever had growing up. That was every smoke detector that I ever had living in apartment buildings. Well, guess what? Many years ago when I lived in this building, I had a different kind of smoke detector. This smoke detector was cranky. This smoke detector went off when there was no discernible smoke in the apartment. I mean, invisible. There was nothing. Like, I'd just be cooking something at it, not even a very high temperature, and it would go off. This ear-splitting fucking noise going right through my head like a power drill. Well, I cursed it a lot, but hey, I figured better too sensitive than not sensitive enough, right? I mean, that's what they're for. They're there to detect smoke. Apparently this was detecting ghost smoke, but it was detecting something. It was doing a job. Maybe not its job, but a job. It wasn't lazy. So one day though, I'm cooking and I'm just not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. And I'm like, this freaking thing better not go off. I was cooking 2 sausages at a low temperature and toasting something. There was no smoke of any kind. Don't go off. I'm having that Tommy from Goodfellas. Don't say it. Don't you say it. It goes off. I lost my shit completely. Now, a key part of the story is that the ceilings of this apartment building were enormous. It used to be a Masonic temple way back in the day. The building's 200 years old. Ceilings are massive, way outside the reach of a normal ceiling. I'm trying to shut the thing off, and I can't. I get the stepladder out. I still can't reach it. I finally get some kind of arrangement going. It's wobbling. I'm about to fall to my death. And I managed to stick like a fucking yardstick, ruler, back end of a rake, something. I don't remember. It wasn't a rake, but poke it in. That button, that's supposed to shut it off. Nothing. Just keeps going. Now, I have always been very sensitive to noise. And now I'm right below the thing and it's going off in my head, through my head. I jump down, I grab a broom, and I proceed to just baseball bat this son of a bitch as hard as I could, like with a screaming Braveheart yell. I jump in the air and I'm like, die, you fucking... I hit the thing so hard, it ripped free of the ceiling. It was one of those partially recessed ones too, so I wouldn't even really get a good hit on it, but I hit it sweet spot. It explodes out of the ceiling and goes flying across the room like a UFO, crashing to the ground. But I'm not done. Oh, no, 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 no. You've triggered my Celtic, Nordic, Anglic battle instincts. I rush across the room, fucking beating this thing, and like Billy Bats, giving that Robert De Niro face. Die, fucking you motherfucker. I stomp this thing. I break it into pieces. And the best part is it was still going for a minute. And I'm like, die, you motherfucker. Just like the end of Office Space. Or not the end, but, you know, the copier. Die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker, die. So I'm finally standing there. It's destroyed. I'm laughing. I'm doing some kind of tribal war dance that kicked off in my brain. Genetics kicked in. I had just slayed an enemy with a crude tool. So I'm like the monkey at the beginning of 2001. I'm celebrating, flailing my limbs. I laughed so hard, I was crying. It was so satisfying. I don't know if women understand this. I would love to know if women feel this way. Because most guys understand exactly what I'm saying when I talk about the pleasure of utterly destroying an object, a physical object that has displeased you or failed you in some way. Well, fate was not kind to me. The very next day, I wake up, and there's that note under the door that the landlord popped in whenever they had a building-wide notice. And the note says, the fire marshal is going to be conducting an inspection of your home for your fire alarms, methane alarms, whatever. Whether you're here or not, we're coming in, so just letting you know, we're coming in. And it's like the next day, right? Or the day after tomorrow, something like that. And I'm like, okay, yep, that's typical. I gave in to the dark side, and look what happened. So I'm like, well, I did what I did, now I gotta make amends. So I get in a car, and I drive to a Lowe's, and for whatever reason, the Lowe's was completely on one side of town, right? There's basically two ends, your west end, your east end. I go to the west end, or whatever it was, and for whatever reason, either they were sold out, I don't remember, this was in like 2005. They were sold out, or they didn't have any that looked the right size to me, because this thing was recessed into a hole in the ceiling. It wasn't the ones that fix on the side of the wall or what have you, or that you can clamp onto whatever. I don't really know much about how they work. I know how to destroy them. So for whatever reason, I didn't get it there. So I drive all the way to the other side of town to the Home Depot. And I find one that looks almost exactly like the one I destroyed, which I had the broken corpse of this thing in my hand, kind of looking at the pieces to see what the brand name was. And so I buy it. It was kind of expensive. I thought these things were like, you know, very, very cheap. And it was, I think, like $29, and this is in 2005 dollars. So you're probably talking like $40 today. Something like that. It was a fancier one. But I'm like, you're an idiot. You have to pay for being stupid. Stupidity comes with a price tag. So I drive home, and now I have to go through the ordeal of installing it. I don't have a 9-volt battery. Who has 9-volt batteries? Everyone has like AAAs and Ds, nothing in between. So I get the 9-volt battery, hook that up. It's so tight I couldn't get the 9-volt battery in it for like 20 minutes. I actually had to use a ball-peen hammer to tap the thing in, and I'm like, am I breaking this one too? Then I had to get it in, and guess what? There's all this wreckage that's stuck in the ceiling from what I destroyed. So now I'm like pulling this stuff out, expecting to be electrocuted, knowing that I deserve it. And I finally get it all clear. I'm like, have I broken any of the contact leads or whatever? I don't know. I get it all clear, but that was a chore because I'm on the wobbly thing, because the footstool's not tall enough for these like 15 feet high ceilings. You don't understand how big the ceilings were in this place. It's like a basketball court. I finally get it in, and it beeps, and it's working. And I'm like, fuck me, finally, it's over, right? So the next day, the fire marshal comes with the landlord representative from the property management company. They come in, and I'm just sitting there pretending, you know, like shifty-eyed, but my back turned. Oh, yeah, do what you got to do, guys. Sweat. I'm like, so the guy comes up, and I hear him screwing around with it, and I'm just like, I'm trying to play it cool. And I hear this thunk, and I'm like, oh my God, what is he, like, investigating? And he found out that I destroyed it? So he comes down, and he goes, yeah, it's perfectly functional. It's all good, but You know, we're and then the landlord holds up this basket, which I don't know if I didn't notice it or I'm not very observant. There's a lot of things I'm not, which this video is revealing. He picks out a brand new one and he goes, yeah, we're replacing all the old ones anyway. They've been in like 5 or 6 years. So I'm like, really? It's 5 or 6 years old? It's barely 5 minutes old, you dumbass. And I'm not calling him a dumbass. They fit the new one in. And I'm like, just sitting there going, you fucking moron. And they fit the new one in. And so I'm thinking, wait, I'll be clever. And I go, well, as they're walking out the door, I'm like, you know, I'll keep the old one, you know, I mean, maybe I'll move or, you know, it's nice to have a spare. And he goes, no, we're good. These are old, they're shitty. He opens up the hallway trash chute. Dunk, 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 and then into the dumpster. Boom. I don't know if there's actually a moral to this story. Other than the 2005 version of me was an extreme dumbass. But men, I'm really curious. Is annihilating objects in a fit of rage brought on by like you bang your shin, right? Or you hit your head on a cabinet or something like that. Is it worth the inevitable aftermath of having to clean up after it, lying about it, having to replace it? Because I'll be honest, as boring as it was driving back and forth across town, as stupid as it was for me to spend the equivalent of like $40 today on a fire alarm that I didn't need to destroy in the first place, as humiliating as it was to find out they were going to replace them anyway, and I could have just, I don't know, left the broken one in and said, I don't know, vandals did it. Never should have destroyed it in the first place. But in spite of all that, after all these years, 19 years ago, which is horrifying to contemplate, 19 years, and I can still remember the unbelievably primal sense of joy I had in destroying that noisy, miserable motherfucking alarm. I whacked it out. I took it for a ride. I gave it a whack in the mouth. I made it disappear. I bumped it off. I rubbed it out. That one hasn't aged quite as well. Anyway, very curious if men out there can relate to this story of idiocy and whether you think destroying things in a fit of anger, mind you, I'm not talking about people or animals, I'm talking about objects. If destroying objects in a fit of mindless rage is worth the consequences. Really want to hear your thoughts on this, because God, that was satisfying. Anyway, folks, if you like today's rambling, unscripted, nonsensical video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for scripted and more coherent content, and remember to check out my books. The link is in the description. Until then, stay cold and don't destroy your smoke alarm unless it's got it coming, motherfucker.